All right.
Alicia, Vidalia, how the hell are you guys?
Heyo.
Hi.
Good to see everybody, man. It's been a minute. Life got kind of crazy on me, but it's kind of settled down now. So I'm back to doing the stuff I love to do so much. And thanks for joining me on short notice. And
Absolutely.
I really had no idea like what I wanted to do. And I don't know what made Tim Burton jump into my brain. And I was like, oh, let's do top five Tim Burton movies. And was it Alicia? Was this a hard list to put together?
Um, on the last, the stroke of midnight, kind of, but not really, because I already knew what my number one was going to be, and it was kind of just a matter of filling in the last four and how to arrange them. So that was my challenge. So, I've always been a fan of his, not a super fan, but I always appreciate the quality of his projects. Like he sets himself apart definitely from a lot of directors in a lot of ways. So, but we can talk about that later.
Yeah, we can talk about that later, or we can talk about that now, or we can talk about it later. But what about Tim Burton is one of those directors though where like I think there's as many Tim Burton disappointments as there is like great movies. Vidalia, would you agree? Do you have a biggest Tim Burton disappointment?
Ed Wood.
Really?
Aw.
Ed Wood is your biggest disappointment.
From what I've seen, I haven't seen all of his work, but I remember being so excited about that movie coming out because I love Johnny Depp. I knew it was going to be so different, but Johnny Depp is he's that kind, he's the kind of actor who can do that kind of thing. And watching it, I was like, oh man. Yeah, I just said and I can't even tell you like a particular like reason why. I remember that feeling leaving the theater, like that's not what I expected it to be. I don't know why, but yeah.
Now, refresh my memory. I didn't see it, but I know that one of the supporting actors won an Oscar for his work, and I can't recall the old guy's name.
Walter Matthau.
He was an old. Yes, he was an old. Really, was it Walter Matthau?
Walter Matthau? I believe so.
It was somebody.
So,
Yeah. If only we had a device where we could look that up. Anyway, the thing was that I knew it was a departure, like kind of like a different spin for him, and I never did get around to seeing it, but it had such a claim attached to it, so I'm sad I didn't see it. But if it was boring or something, then that sucks.
Yeah, I don't know what I was expecting going in, and I mean it came out, gosh, so long ago, 94. I was young. I was like 20 at the time, so I don't know what I was expecting, but I know that whatever I saw was not what I was expecting. So I was like,
correction. It was Martin Landau.
Martin Landau. Yes, I saw. I was like, I don't think it was Walter Matthau.
I was
Martin
also confident too that it was Walter Matthau.
Were those both the grumpy old men? Both of them were the grumpy old men, weren't they? That movie.
Both grumpy old men.
Walter Matthau.
No.
Oh shoot! No, I don't know.
Martin Landau.
Martin Landau. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know that he received an Oscar earlier in his career, but it was really exciting for him to receive it for that late in his life.
Let's see. Well, I'm here. Awards and nominations. 1988 Academy Award, Best Supporting Actor, Ed Wood. Wait, does he got Academy Awards category? I don't know if he was nominated or if he won, but he was nominated for Tucker, The Man in His Dreams, Crimes and Misdemeanors, and Ed Wood.
Okay.
My biggest Tim Burton disappointment was Planet of the Apes.
Oh, for sure.
I was so excited about that because I like the Planet of the Apes movies are so freaking good and they're so freaking creepy because I mean it's like, oh man, they're so good, and I was so excited that Tim Burton was gonna get. They had said that if the first one did good, that they were gonna give him the whole series, But we saw where that went. It was horrible. Who's had more
You know that was on
disappointing?
his list.
Yeah, what's that?
I didn't know that that was on there
Yeah.
on his as one of his movies.
I wonder who has had more disappointing movies, Tim Burton or M. Night Shyamalan. They're,
Eesh.
they're both like kind of like feast or famine type directors.
Mhm.
Right. I don't know. I'm more of actually I'm a horror fan in general, so I like him as a director and his good movies more than I would say I'm like gonna diss Tim Burton. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I love M. Night I love Signs. I'll watch it anytime.
That's-
If it's
His
on, I'm
absolute-
stuck.
That's when he was on point. Like that's what
Yeah.
his peak.
It was so good.
Yeah.
And did you know that right now Tim Burton is working on for Netflix an 8-episode series of Wednesday Addams?
Yes, I'm so excited.
Yeah. So do you know who's going to be Wednesday? So I don't know who she is, but you guys watch more TV than I do. But she was in a show called Jenna Ortega.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know who played.
But she's also gonna be in the Scream movie, the 2022 Scream movie. She's gonna be in that. And do you know who the parents are gonna be?
Oh, I think I heard, but now I'm forgetting.
Catherine Zeta-Jones and Luis Guzman.
Oh yes.
Oh, Catherine Zeta-Jones. I think I had heard that. Oh,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Check out. Here's my tribute to Luis Guzman's hair. I'm not Luis Guzman.
And then now you have to frown.
Yeah. Or I can go back like that, and now I'm Benicio del Toro.
Oh Lord.
Oh man. Okay. Now we got all the preliminaries out of the way. You ready to jump into the list?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Who wants to go first? All right, Vidalia, you're looking up.
Okay. I'll go
I'm
first.
just cleaning up my
Let's
list.
start with you. What is your number 5 favorite Tim Burton movie? Number 5. What do you got?
Big Fish.
Big Fish.
Mm-hmm.
Big
Yeah.
Fish, like it really tugged at the heartstrings. Is
That's
that-
what it was. I connected so much on this like just deep emotional level, and it was just so like heartbreaking. I don't know. In a way, I don't know. But that was another one that at the time when I watched it, I was like, I don't know if I like it. And then I remember watching it again. I haven't seen it in a long time, but because it's from 2003, so
Okay.
it's been a minute. But I just remember like the second time that I watched it, and it was like a couple years later. And it just hit me different. I don't know, like emotionally it hit me different. Maybe because I had matured some, I don't know. But yeah, I remember just thinking, oh, that's like so like sad, and I don't know. It's have you seen it, Alicia?
I think I did a very long time ago. Is this the one with you and McGregor?
Yes.
Okay. And it kind of jumps all over the place time-wise.
Yes.
It does.
Okay. I just remember seeing it maybe the one time. It was so long ago. I don't remember what it was about. What was the plot?
It was the story of him and his father, and his dad would tell these giant tales, and he had so much resentment because he kind of seen it as his dad like being like a liar, I guess, because he would tell these stories that just could not possibly be true. And it was toward the end of his father's life. And I don't know, it's just like something about it, the relationship and it was just so sad to me. I don't know, but it just really, really touched me. So
I did not realize Tim Burton was behind that. That
was the first movie I thought of. Like, I thought obvious, the obvious movies that you think of when you think of Tim Burton. That was the first one that I thought of was Big Fish. Yeah.
Excellent.
So that's fine.
All right. Alicia, what do you have at number 5?
Let me find out. My daughter, my husband took our iPad to work because that's how hard he works at work.
Because of playoffs.
I don't know. I mean, he bought this so that he could take it and enjoy some Netflix on downtime. He used to read books, and now it's like, yeah, whatever. But I went to look for my iPad today because that's where I usually put my notes so that I can like refer to them. But it was gone today. So I'm using my daughter's. And so every time it goes dark, then I have to like re-put in her code.
Oh yeah.
So sorry about that. But I put as number 5, Alice in Wonderland.
Ooh.
Oh,
We bought it on Blu-ray when it first came out on Blu-ray. And I saw it maybe once or twice. So my recollection is very fuzzy because it came out in 2010.
Uh-huh.
It's like 11 years ago. And I was just reminded, like thinking of the clips and like the things that I would usually see, that it had a super stellar cast, like aside from the big three, which was what my daughter called it, by the way. Thank you. Shout out to my daughter. Which is, the combination of Tim Burton, Johnny Depp, and Helena Bonham Carter. So there's the big three involved. And then Anne Hathaway was in that one. And of course, Alice was Mia Wasikowska, and then Crispin Glover. And I'd forgotten that the voice of the White Rabbit was Michael Sheen, and the voice of the Caterpillar was Alan Rickman, and the voice of the Jabberwocky was Christopher Lee. And he loves working with like Christopher Lee and certain other core actors that he like repeatedly. And that to me speaks a lot about a director, is when these actors repeatedly work with a director. It says a lot about him and his style and his rapport with the actors, and how much freedoms he may or may not give, or how much direction he may or may not give. And so I that's one of the first things I like zero in on when I was pulling up his movies. I'm like, that person's been in like 3 movies so far that I've looked at. But anyway, and also the whole film was scored by Danny Elfman. Running theme, P.S. And then I just really I remember being really in awe of the use of color in the imagery, and how bright and colorful these scenes were, and the characters and the background and the cinematography. So each character had like its own kind of color wheel, and then by extension, so did their background. So if you were watching a certain character on the screen, the background kind of like was intermeshed with the colors they were wearing, or their hair, or their makeup, or something like that. So that was always like really kind of a fantastical element for this movie for me. So I really enjoyed that. And then when I was looking up information about this particular movie, I didn't know that Anne Hathaway had been originally asked to be Alice, and she turned it down.
Oh wow!
Wow,
yeah.
That's surprising.
Because she felt like she kept playing that certain character in a series of movies that she had already done. So she was really happy to be, given the role of the White Queen. So anyway, I enjoy that movie, and that's why I put it at number 5.
Number 5. All right. My number 5, we've already talked about it. Ed Wood. I laughed so hard during this movie, and just like it being in black and white, and like the way it was shot, and it's just Johnny Depp was just so great. It's like, it was perfect. Let's go. Like, cut. That was perfect.
Oh, okay. Now I'm gonna have to see that, because I don't know what side of the coin I'd fall on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably with J-Lo. Who knows? Yeah. But yeah, Ed Wood is my number 5, and all right, that's my number 5. All right, Vidalia, what do you got at number 4?
Number 4 is the first movie that he has credited that I saw, from 1985, Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Oh yeah, that's adorable.
Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
There's so much to love about this movie. Go ahead.
It's the one with Large Marge. I mean, that's all you need to know. And the Alamo. So that's all you need to know. That's it. I love it. My kids love it. We all love it. It's such a good movie. I mean, that just took me back to my childhood. So I had no idea.
1985, huh?
Yeah, I had no idea that he had anything to do with that movie. I had no clue.
Oh wow.
And because I'm not the kind of person that, like, when I watch a movie, I'm like, oh, it's this producer and that director and that writer. I don't know any of that stuff usually for any movie ever. So I was like, oh wow, it was his movie. I've always loved Pee-wee's Big Adventure, and I watched it. I
love the there's so many great scenes. I love the music is so great. When he has the nightmare about his bike being
yes,
the clowns are destroying his bike. Oh my gosh, it is so good. And of course there's so much. I'm sure we're gonna.
And the girl who plays Dottie, she's so cute.
She's so had the biggest.
Oh my gosh, who is it? Who is it? Because I'm blanking. Who is it?
Is it anybody famous?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Hold on.
It's E.G. Daily. E.G. Daily. Elizabeth Daily.
E.G. Daily.
Yeah.
It's on here.
So
yep.
So E.G. Daily was the slutty friend from the movie Valley Girl who slept with her boyfriend.
Oh wow.
Oh.
And also she's the voice of Tommy Pickles on Rugrats.
Oh, okay, cute.
And she came out in The Masked Singer, the very first Masked Singer season.
Wow, she's got that Rugrats money.
She has
she
has a really particular voice, huh? She's a great actor for that, a voice actor. Yeah, for sure.
She's been rolling in cash for her voice work for years.
Man,
and who played Francis in the movie? What was his name? The actor.
Oh, I don't remember.
You don't know? I don't know. I
haven't seen it in years. Oh my gosh.
I don't know, but anyway, the relationship with Peewee and Francis and that it kind of reminds me of kind of like a Jerry and Newman kind of.
It is. It's like
enemies.
It is Jerry and Newman. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I love that movie.
Alicia, what do you have? I think we're going to talk about Peewee again. That's what I'm saying. Alicia, what do you have at number 4?
Well, I super liked Peewee, and I put it on my honorable mentions. But I find like in a rewatch, it's so rough because it was one of his earlier efforts.
Mm-hmm.
That he did stuff far better than you know what I mean. Like it was like he got the budget so he could do a lot of more slick things with CGI and stuff like that. So that it's a good. I mean, it holds up. It truly does. But like as far as his body of work, I was like, yeah, give it a nod because I did enjoy it and I loved it. When it came out, certainly seen it multiple times, but it's been a minute. Anyway, my number 4 is Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Oh,
that is one of the ones that we watched in a regular rotation. My girls, they were right around that. It came out in 2005. So of course we had the DVD and we'd play it in the car. And that's when I used to have a really long commute. So it was one of the ones they had on repeat. And so I know the movie by the dialogue, the audio, the score, stuff like that. But I don't know if I've seen it like start to finish, but maybe a handful of times because I was the driver and they were all enjoying it in the back seat. So anyway, also one of those projects with the big three, Johnny, Helena, Tim, Christopher Lee was, he played his father. So he's in it again. And then of course, Freddie Highmore was Charlie. And can I give a shout out to Deep Roy? If y'all know Deep Roy, he was one of his go-to actors as well. Deep Roy was the Oompa Loompa.
Oh, okay.
So he's an Indian actor who is a little person. And he worked twice as hard as any actor on this film because he literally was shot doing the same action in multiple angles. So they didn't just CGI him here and there. Like he literally worked so hard on this movie that Tim gave him an extra $1 million for working as hard as he did.
Wow.
An extra $1 million?
Yeah. On top of whatever he was getting paid. Yeah. And so Also wanted to give a shout out to the efforts by Danny Elfman, because he was, of course, in charge of composing all the score and the musical numbers, to the point that it's actually kind of its own character, you know, in this particular movie. And then I like this one because the singing voice of the Oompa Loompas is also Danny Elfman. And I don't know, I like this because it was different from the one in the 70s in a lot of ways. And I think Johnny Depp was interviewed several times, and he just said, you know, we weren't trying to remake that movie. We were trying to do an adaptation of the novel. So it's not going to be like the other movie. It's its own separate adaptation of this novel. And what I found intriguing too was the fact that he had his dad in it. Christopher Lee played his father, and he was a dentist or a orthodontist. And so he had all these like traumatic flashbacks to having this like headgear and like this crazy braces situation. And it wasn't really based on anything that was in the novel. It was actually Tim Burton's own childhood recollection of having had braces. So he had inserted that like personal detail about his own childhood into this movie. And then I really liked the ending so much better than the original ending, or the ending of the prior movie. So, you know, where they show how he spent the money and how he like injected it into the community and stuff like that. So it was a better ending than just flying off in a glass elevator.
Well, that's how the book ended.
Yeah.
Right. I have such a visceral reaction to that. I can't. For the longest time, I refused to even watch it. And then I only ever watched it because my kids watched it. I was really upset at them for bringing that into my house.
Oh my gosh.
Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory is probably my favorite childhood movie, or tied with Annie, my entire life. So the fact that somebody dared to remake it, and then it was a Tim Burton kind of thing that was remade, and then Johnny Depp, and the thing with his teeth, it was gross, and I just could not. I cannot.
It was a lot of that imagery, and you know, they also they freaking trained 40 squirrels. They trained squirrels to sit there and open the nuts and empty them onto like a conveyor belt or whatever the situation was. And then in other scenes, they like CGI'd them running here and there. But for the most part, when they would close up on a squirrel, it was a freaking squirrel doing that because it was trained to do that. Wow. So there's a lot of interesting things about the way that they were able to use, technology to make this something a little more fantastic, a little more crazy, a little more like, some of the scenes are dark, and some of them are bright and wild. So I don't know. I thought it was interesting and I enjoyed it.
All right. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
No. Oh, yeah. I was going to say, not Willy Wonka. Yeah. Not to be confused.
Okay. My number 4 is Batman. It's just so like dark and gothic and Gotham. I mean, it's still great. It's still great. Like, cause it's so simple. Like if you watch it now, it's so like the sets and all that, like they're so simple. Like it's real comic booky, you know, like comic book movies have just gone off the rails.
The
last 5 years, maybe the last 10 years. And to think that like, this is one of the ones that like started the whole like comic book movie thing. It used to be so simple, you know, a great director, some great imagery, and I don't know. I just really, again, the score, Danny Elfman. I mean,
what?
You know, do you think we would love Tim Burton as much if him and Danny Elfman like hadn't have been like?
Wait a minute. Rewind. He did the score. It wasn't Prince.
Well, Prince did like the song, right?
Soundtrack.
The score.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
Danny Elfman. I'm pretty sure. I have the soundtrack. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Well, now you're making me double check.
I mean, I'm thinking they worked together.
You're talking about the Batman 1989 Keaton, right?
Yes.
Like the only Batman. Okay.
He did list of compositions by Danny, film scores, the 80s. Oh my gosh, he starts
I think he
Peewee,
might have. Yeah.
Beetlejuice, Midnight. Oh, Batman, 1989. Oh, I thought you almost got me there. Yeah.
Well, because I wasn't
Anyway, yeah.
sure. I
I
wasn't
wasn't
sure.
sure
Yeah.
either. You made me unsure. I'm gonna cut this out.
Thanks.
No,
I'm here for that.
Batman is my number 4. All
I
right,
love
moving
making
on.
people uncomfortable. Yeah.
Anyway, Vidalia, what do you got at number 3?
Edward Scissorhands.
Ooh.
How could you not love Edward Scissorhands? It's so sad. It's so sweet.
It's so colorful, like that neighborhood. I just rewatched it the other day, and that neighborhood just blows me away. Every time I watch it, I'm just like, I want to live in that neighborhood.
And is that where Johnny Depp and Winona Ryder met? Is that where they met?
I don't know if that's where they met, but
Perhaps.
A long time ago. So yeah, 1990. But I was checking like the in terms of credits, because again, I'm not this person. He's like director, producer, director on most of his stuff. On Edward Scissorhands, he was director, producer, and writer. He wrote the story, so he was really, really, really involved. Like every step of that movie. And I don't know, it's so sweet. I didn't see it for a really, really long time. It wasn't until much later, because it came out in 1990. I didn't see it until well into the 2000s, I'm sure. Like I didn't see it for a really, really long time, because at the time I didn't go to movie theaters. At 1990, I was still in high school. I was living in Lamont without a car. So yeah, I didn't see it in the movie theater, but and then I just was indignant about it. I was like, well, I didn't get to see it, and I'm just not going to see it, because why even should I? And then I did, and then I loved it. So
yeah. It's so good. It's so good. I watched it just the other day, and I still love it.
Oh.
All right, Alicia, what do you have at number 3?
Oh, okay. So going with what Vidalia was saying, like he's listed as producer, director, writer in multiple projects, but I didn't realize that on this particular project, he did not direct it. He was only a producer. Okay. So, I mean, maybe he had something to do with the writing, but it just really like shouted out to me, wow, like I had no idea that he did not direct this piece. And all my life I thought he had, but it's The Nightmare Before Christmas.
I knew you were going to see that.
Yeah, I was just really shocked. Yeah. I was like, seriously? I thought my entire life he directed it. Mm-hmm. But anyway, so yeah, Chris Sarandon did the speaking voice of Jack, and then of course Danny Elfman did the singing voice. And my daughter had not realized that the voice of Sally was in fact Moira Rose, Catherine O'Hara, and she was very shocked to find that out. And I was like, I'm shocked that you didn't know that. Like, sorry, shock in reverse. But yeah, and then of course Danny Elfman did all the music, of course. But what I found interesting as a piece of trivia was that the voice of Santa Claus was supposed to be Vincent Price, and he became ill. I think his wife died, and then he became ill right before they were gonna like start recording. So then they had to hire another actor. Not like a character actor. He did like old man here over there, old man over in this movie or whatever. But he his voice sounded so frail and weak that they couldn't use any of the stuff that he provided. So they gave it to somebody else. And then right before the release in the US, he passed away. So I thought that was crazy that all of that kind of coincided. But anyway, everybody, has affection for this movie. Obviously, it's a classic. And like my daughter said, you can play it twice a year because it applies. You can play it for Halloween, you can play it for Christmas. But my kids, they sing all the songs, and it's just kind of always around us
Yeah. So
all
is
the
it a
time.
Christmas movie or a Halloween movie?
It is both.
So
It is both.
it was
So
just on the other day in my house. We were just watching it like 3 days ago. Yeah.
so I had
You usher in October with.
because
Nightmare-
of course I had to be a snob, and I was telling my daughter, we were going through his IMDb, and I was like, I'm only using the ones he directed. Stop it, and then I was like, ugh, I can't believe he didn't direct that. You can't leave it off.
He's synonymous with it though,
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that's my number 3.
Okay. My number 3 is Pee-wee's Big Adventure. I love it. I could watch it over and over again. So much repeatable stuff, and I think it's one of those movies that like we probably quote on the daily, and we don't even realize that we're quoting it. But I love it. Just the boy on his bike. Well, yeah, that's one of my favorites. Okay, we've talked about it plenty. Vidalia, what do you have at number 2?
Number 2, I have Batman. 1989. Keaton, Nixon, DeVito. The only
Was Pfeiffer that, or she was the next one?
He was in the next one. Yeah,
Okay.
he was in the next one.
It's the only Batman that matters. The casting is, I think the for me, casting in a movie, that movie is an example of like some of the best casting I've ever seen in a movie. For me, Keaton as Batman was probably unexpected at the time, but right? And Nicholson as Joker. And I know everybody's like, Heath Ledger or whatever, sure, I'm great, whatever. But to me, like I saw him and I thought, oh my gosh, yes, he captures that spirit, And I don't know, I just loved that movie. And I love the casting, and I could watch that like.
Well, the whole thing with like Keaton as Batman, like the comic book purists, they stand behind Keaton as Batman because like in the comics, like Batman was like, he was a scrawny dude. Like he wasn't powerful until he put the suit on.
Right.
So that this small guy, Michael Keaton, kind of nerdy, like it makes sense.
It
like
matches.
yeah, until he puts the suit on, then he's the Batman, Yeah, great movie. I'm here for it. The Prince soundtrack and the Danny Elfman score are both equally like great.
Love it.
Yeah. And that Prince got involved was kind of, didn't that blow your mind that Prince got involved with that?
I had never. Well, he had only done the music for his own movies, right?
Yeah.
Up until then. So that was really unexpected. I remember buying the soundtrack and I was like, oh man, I love this. I loved everything about it. I don't know. I just loved everything about it. And I said DeVito, but now I'm getting confused. But anyway.
Yeah, that was the second one. He was the penguin in the second one.
The penguin, yeah.
But they meshed together so well.
That was a really good casting decision too. That's why I always thought about that. That was a really good casting decision.
Yeah. He's great as the penguin.
But anyway, back to Batman with Nicholson.
Okay.
And Keaton. Favorite.
Alicia, what do you got at your number 2?
I also have Batman. So it made number 2 for me because it was so groundbreaking at the time. And like you said, like for comic book movies to be represented on that level and to be given this huge budget for a director to be able to do all the things that Tim Burton was able to accomplish. And then for it to be shot in the way that it was shot and the decisions that he made with the settings and the cinematography and the darkness of some of it, and just be able to connect with the audience on those terms beyond, the performances of the actors. He was able to like kind of infiltrate your psyche and make you feel like you were, in this demented cloud of shrewdness. You know what I mean? Like it was pretty impressive. at the time. And like I said, like Pee-wee's Big Adventure, love it, and like stuff. But then I feel like when it came to Batman, that's when Tim Burton's like the level at which he was performing as a director was ramping up. So that was like, here we go. And then he got to like, to do whatever in the hell he wanted to do.
Yeah.
After that, like studios gave him like free reign, because that movie probably made so much money for them that hand over fist, they were probably like, oh, Tim Burton, here you go. Here's a project, whatever, but I mean, I feel like that was his like big shot on like, a total blockbuster level. But yeah, it was, and then it was like when you heard that it was coming out, so many people, it was highly anticipated, and so many people flocked to the movies to see it. I know I was one of them, and you guys probably were too, but it was like, it had to be up there in my top 3. And so I just had to figure where to put it. But anyway, that
was the one where the licensing, right? Or like all the merchandising and stuff, like was just crazy. Wasn't it that oval with the yellow bat on the inside? That was the first time that was used, I think, as like the insignia for Batman. Because I remember that being like everywhere.
Yeah.
It went nuts.
Christmas was like, it was like Batman everywhere. It was like a different, now it's the norm for comic book stuff to be like that. Like you see it everywhere. But I feel like at the time that wasn't normal.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So that was really different.
All right. Okay. Are we on my number 2?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
My number 2 is Edward Scissorhands. We talked about it already. I love it so much. Just so much great stuff in it. And I don't know. We've talked about it plenty. I don't want to talk about it any more than we need to, but it's absolutely one of my favorites. You want to do, Alicia, did you have some honorable mentions?
The other one that hasn't already been mentioned was Beetlejuice, and I've seen it so many times, and it's fine, but I couldn't put it in my top 5 just for personal reasons. I was like, whatever, it's fine. Yeah. I enjoy it when I see it. I don't not like it. But I also had, Peewee and I put Batman on there for some reason. Edward Scissorhands and Edward.
Vidalia, you got any honorable mentions?
Beetlejuice and Corpse Bride.
Oh, the Corpse Bride, yeah. That was a really good one. It's kind of dark. Well, Burton.
Well, I mean,
yeah. I had like Batman Returns, Beetlejuice, like all that stuff. Let me let's see what if some folks commented on Facebook, and so Celeste, Corpse Bride or Nightmare Before Christmas. Dana Bryant, friend of the podcast, also a cast member of Telenovela. She says, "Oh, that's hard. I'm a huge Alice in Wonderland fan generally, and I loved his version of that. Edward Scissorhands and Big Fish are also movies I love." And then I asked her what was her biggest Tim Burton disappointment, and she said for her it's Dark Shadows. Marco Caboti, who's been on the podcast before, he was with Sarah and myself, and we did a top hair metal bands. Marco says Beetlejuice. Cindy Aguirre says Big Fish with 3 heart emojis. Drew Kimsey, Beetlejuice. And James Cope, who we always disagree, says Ed Wood. So I finally agree with something James Cope has to say.
Well, now I disagree with him.
He's always, every movie he sees, he hates it. He's hilarious. And I think that's all we have from the social medias. Okay. Number 1s. Vidalia, what do you have?
Come on.
Don't organize me.
Do we have to say it?
Say it.
Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah. Yeah, we're not doing the asterisk that it's not directed by him. I mean, I get it. Yeah, but and I'm sure there'll be purists saying that. Well, but it's our. We get to say whatever we want. There's no rules.
Yeah. You don't have Nightmare Before Christmas without Tim Burton. You just don't. And I mean, if you did, it wouldn't be what it is. I don't know.
We went and saw that movie opening weekend, and there was nobody in the theater. We saw it. We were the only two people in the theater, and it didn't do good theatrically. It blew up like afterwards, like on video cassette.
Yeah. It gained a cultural following. I remember watching it when it came out in the movie theater, and I was like, oh my God, I love it. And the music, and there's the story, and just everything. I love, and it looked so different from anything I had ever seen before. It looked different, and the characters and this, just the whole idea, the whole concept of it. So I just I've always loved that film.
The scene where he's walking up the stairs still blows my mind, like how visually beautiful that is. And
so beautiful.
I still a friend of mine, her dog is named, I don't know how many people I've run across who have a dog named Zero. I love quoting, they're shooting at us, they're not throwing fireworks. He says they're shooting at us. That movie never gets old.
Never ever.
Yeah, I've watched it hundreds of times.
You should look and see online like how many different seconds it took to film a particular scene. Like
it was like something insane. Like I've seen little documentaries about it, and they would just have to move it. No, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah. It took forever to make. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Alicia, what's your number one? Because you got Nightmare in the middle. What's your number one? Big Fish?
It is a family favorite. Corpse Bride, bitches.
Bride.
Yes.
Bride, bitches. Corpse.
Yes.
Bride, bitches. All right. Got it. I won't forget that now. Okay.
Yeah. Come on. You got the big three again. Johnny, Helen, and Tim. But also Emily Watson and Albert Finney, Tracy Ullman, and Joanna Lumley, who, if you're not familiar, she's one half of Absolutely Fabulous. So, and Christopher Lee, of course, is the pastor. And then our boy Deep Roy is the sheriff, the short little sheriff guy in the ghost, the underworld. Anyways, I enjoy it so much. It has such a great plot. And the fact that he was this nervous, screwing up rehearsals, and their marriage was arranged. And so he goes and he puts the ring on her, not knowing it's her finger. He just thinks it's a twig. And then he marries her and she drags him down into the underworld and trying to get back to his bride and whatever. And then the twist at the end where, she's obviously connected to the villain. It's been out for 1,000 years, so I feel like I'm not spoiling anything. But anyway, so he actually dumped her and killed her once she gave him his dowry, I guess you could say, the jewels and whatever. Mm-hmm. And so then he killed her, and then she finally confronts him and says it was you or whatever. And so that's super cool for and kind of I don't know if it's progressive, or it's not something that you would see in a child's movie to be that deep and that heavy. But my girls, obviously, they didn't understand the intricacies of the script when they were younger, but now looking back as adults, they were like, ooh, wow, that guy was pretty, he was a creep. And they're able to appreciate it on a different level with their maturity level. Anyway, and then of course Danny Elfman music, and who can forget the song that he sang in the underworld, la, 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 about the whole story of the Corpse Bride. And it to us, to my family and stuff, we quote that movie right and left. all the time. And I mean, my husband will be pouring me a glass of wine and he'll hand it to me. He's like, your cup will never runneth over. And he's like handing me a glass of wine or something. But like, it's just, that's what we love here at the house. I don't know. I mean, it is dark and like, but it's still such a dark sense of humor was injected into the script that it's still so funny for us. And in fact, my son and my daughter, they play a game out in our pool where he's pulling her foot and saying hopscotch, and it's everything. So anyway, that's my favorite, Corpse Bride.
All right, Corpse Bride.
Yes.
My number one is Nightmare Before Christmas. What are we gonna say about that? We haven't already. Okay, this is going to be interesting.
Jess, is that your favorite movie? Like, period?
Period? No, I don't think so. No,
I don't know. It always reminds me of you. So maybe I just know that you love it like a whole lot.
I do love it. Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know what my favorite movie is. It really depends on the mood.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. So movies that got repeated were like Peewee, Edward Scissorhands, Batman, Nightmare. What else? Did Big Fish get repeated? No. Peewee.
No.
Did Alice in Wonderland get repeated?
No.
No, I'm surprised, but no.
Okay, so what? Okay, so Peewee, Ed Wood, Batman, Nightmare Before Christmas. What's getting left out then is like Big Fish, Alice in Wonderland, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Corpse Bride, Ed Wood.
I need to see it. I'm telling you, this is a controversy.
Okay, so Alicia, you got kind of like the weirdest list of all. Well, it's more different than Vidalia's and mine. So I think Vidalia, let's let Alicia fight for one of her movies here.
Okay, so here's what I'm noticing is that my children are of a certain age and Vidalia's children are much younger. So I was exposed to the whimsical childhood Tim Burton movies an awful lot and very frequently. And her kids were not there yet. Maybe they weren't even born yet. I don't know. But they certainly reflect a certain period of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And my exposure and hence my children's exposure to these Tim Burton films. So I wasn't watching Big Fish because I was probably up to my elbows in diapers, or like I wasn't watching whatever the other one was. What did you say? I mean, Edward Scissorhands, I just feel like was really old to me. And I know I liked it when I saw it, but I remember what you're saying, Jesse, about how vividly the houses were painted.
Yeah.
And that reminds me a lot of like the Cat in the Hat, and how vividly that whole, like it has to be depicted in a cartoon like way. But that's really all I recall from it. And I just remember how much I hated Winona Ryder in blonde hair, and his makeup was so over the top. I don't know. It was just like, oh, it's whatever. It was fine. I enjoyed it. I don't need to see it again, whatever. But I will say that I thought on a rewatch, and if you've never seen it, Corpse Bride is written so well and so cleverly. And there's a lot of double entendres and that parents will get. And I'm a sucker for those kind of movies, because if the parents like it for other funny reasons that the kids don't understand, I'm on board. But so that would be the one I would fight for, because it was so, I don't know. It's just so, and like it was right after he had done Nightmare Before Christmas in terms of stop motion animation, and that it just got better. And they were able to like add in some CGI with the bigger budgets that they had available to Tim Burton because of his other projects, that I just think it's really well done. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, I just enjoyed because it was fun. And then Alice in Wonderland, yeah, pure imagery. It's just pretty to watch. It's really beautiful. So I don't know. My top three, again, you know, my Nightmare Before Christmas, Batman, and Corpse Bride are still my top three.
I had Corpse Bride on my also ran.
Right.
Also because it's like A Nightmare Before Christmas. It's like visually stunning.
Mhm.
That movie, it
I agree.
really is. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I don't remember, like I didn't watch it to the extent that you did. I mean, I think I probably watched it once, you know. So I wouldn't know about the lines and the jokes and whatever, but that's one that I could go back and rewatch and like be on the lookout.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I think it's like, it's really great because like at the level where the humans are, it's like, it's a dark and somber colors, and like England, it's rainy and like all that stuff. And then when you go into the underworld, it's like Coco, freaking beautiful colors and like,
yeah,
popping out at you. Yeah. So,
yes.
In terms of the animation, that was really, really what hooks you. But anyway, so that would be the one that I would want to have.
Okay. Well, let's put Corpse Bride at number 5.
Okay.
Is that fair? Okay.
I'm okay with that.
Okay, so then we have left Nightmare Before Christmas, Pee-wee's Big Adventure, Edward Scissorhands, and Batman. Is Nightmare Before Christmas number 1?
You guys both had it at number 1, so I think by default.
Okay. So then we have Pee-wee, Edward Scissorhands, and Batman fighting for 2, 3, and 4.
So I feel like Batman has to be number 3 because of how it's ranked, but also I have to interject that that I feel like in terms of his body of work, I would put it above Nightmare, or on my list it was above Nightmare, but Batman has to be in the top 3.
I think Batman should be number 2.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I agree with that. I think Batman should be number 2.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so then, and then Edward Scissorhands number 3, and then
Number
Pee-wee
3.
number 4.
Yeah.
All right, that was kind of.
Wait, which one's number 4? Peewee?
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you guys feel about Lindsay Monday, friend of the podcast and also telenovela cast member, said that I can't stand Tim Burton, but she said I love Sweeney Todd, but that's because of my musical theater heart. What do you guys think about Sweeney Todd?
I never saw it, to be honest.
Yeah.
I never saw it because that was so dark.
I saw it once and it was a musical, and I was like, I don't know.
I don't even remember if I've seen it or not. I feel like I think that I did, but I do not remember it at all.
Okay.
I was like into freaking like Hannah Montana, Disney Channel. Like I couldn't even see straight. Yeah, that was not in my wheelhouse. I realized that it was out there, and it might not be like the right year, but I for sure was not interested in seeing it because I knew it was like about what it was like. Isn't he like a murderer or something? Like
he's like a murdering barber. Like something.
So I was like, maybe not now.
I just wanted to give Lindsay a shout out. She's hilarious.
That's cool, but I can't believe like she said I hate Tim Burton. I was like, what?
Yeah. I almost
Harsh.
kicked out of telenovela. She almost got kicked out of telenovela for that.
Who hates Tim Burton? I mean, Tim Burton does his thing. It's not like anybody else, but you don't have to hate him for it. Oh my gosh.
Lindsay Monday hates him. She
has a price on his head.
we have our list. Number 5, The Corpse Bride. Number 4, Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Number 3, Edward Scissorhands. Number 2, Batman. And number 1, not directed by, but produced by, and concept.
To be clear, yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Awesome.
Okay, you want to say bye?
Hello. Bye-bye.
She was taking a nap.
Aww.
Thanks, you guys. That was fun.